Mighty companions. Are there any mighty companions in the house? Are these some mighty companions? Yes. Welcome those of you that are watching online. I want to welcome you to the Course in Miracles Alive. And we want you to listen to, and I want to listen to this message from Brother John, where everybody's coming in to watch. Okay, no matter what's happening in my life right now, I am responsible for what I see. I'm responsible for whether I see love or fear. I am responsible for whether I see love or fear. And everything that seems to happen to me, whether I know it or not, I ask for it. I ask for it. I decide upon the goal that I will achieve. I decide upon the goal I will achieve. I decide upon the goal that I will achieve. And what? Everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for it. Woo, that can be tough to accept sometimes. You don't have to believe these ideas. You don't have to accept these ideas. Some of these ideas you're going to find hard to believe. And some of these ideas you're going to find quite startling. But if you use it, you will see that the ideas are true. I am responsible for how I see things. I am responsible for how I see things. I'm responsible for how I feel about things. And everything that seems to happen to me, I'm asking for. I choose the feelings. I choose the feelings. I choose my feelings. I choose my feelings. Everything that seems to happen to me, everything that seems to happen to me, everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for it. I ask for it. I am responsible. I am responsible for everything that seems to happen to me. What's the hardest line in that? Is it, I am responsible for what I see, I choose the feelings I experience, I decide upon the goal I would achieve, or is it the line, everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for? Everything. Yeah, everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for. And it took me a while to get that it was talking about if there's more than one way for me to look at things, and I choose not to look at things in a way that gives me more peace, then I'm asking for it. That whatever I'm experiencing, I'm asking for it. I want to welcome those that are coming in online. We got quite a few coming in online. I want to welcome Shirley and Arlene and Roxanne and Kim and Kia and Sister Cheryl, and others that are coming in right now. I'm going to do a section called, in the teacher's manual, on page 27. It's called, How is Judgment Relinquished? I also got 3 loaner copies of the Course in Miracles. Hello, Barbie. Glad to see you online. Those of you who are coming in online, don't forget that this is interactive. So you can make comments, and you can also ask questions. And when I look down, I can also see them on my iPhone and respond to you. So this class is a lot bigger than the number of bodies that's in the room. And so I'm glad to have you. Those of you who have actually here in the body, thank you for coming. I appreciate some people actually showing up in the room also. That's very helpful, and I love the energy of that. I'm going to talk about how is judgment relinquished. The thing we keep on hearing over and over again is that we need to let go of judgment. I don't know how many times I've heard that since I've been on the spiritual path. What about you? That's one of the first things you always hear. You need to learn how to let go of judgment. You need to learn how to let go of judgment. Okay, well, this is how you do it. Today we're going to talk about this is how you let go of judgment. Okay? It says, judgment, like other devices by which the world of illusions is maintained, judgment is totally misunderstood by the world. So the Course in Miracles says judgment is completely misunderstood by the world, that we don't understand the whole concept of judgment. It says, actually, we confuse judgment with wisdom. That we think somehow or another your being able to judge has something to do with your wisdom. And we think that judgment actually substitutes for the truth. There's the truth about you, Connor, but I got an opinion of you, and I think that opinion of you is substituting for the truth about you. Right. So I got my opinion of people, and I use that as a substitute for the truth about them. And so as the world uses the term, an individual is capable of good and bad judgment. Doesn't it seem like that way? Like according to the world, you can have good judgment about your relationship, and you can have bad judgment about your relationship, right? And so if you get educated, then it says we think that our education should be strengthening our good judgment, and our education should be minimizing our bad judgment. But there's only one problem with that. We have a total confusion about what good and bad judgment means. So what does that mean? When you're reading the Course in Miracles, remember that it assumes that you don't understand what you're reading. So as you continue to read it, it clarifies whatever it says in the next sentence. And if you don't get it in that sentence you keep on going, and it clarifies it in the next sentence. And if you don't get it there, it clarifies it in the next sentence. So I don't know about you, but have you noticed that what's good judgment to one person is bad judgment to another person? Like it might be good judgment for you to go out with that person, and all your friends go, that's bad judgment. What's good judgment to you is bad judgment to somebody else. And guess what? Even you classify the same action as showing good judgment at one time, bad judgment at another. In other words, it might be good judgment for me to have a little drink before I go to bed, and I say that's okay, and then the other things I might think is bad judgment. So even you will take the exact same action and say this action is good judgment, and then I do the same action at another time and say it's bad judgment. It was good judgment to go to that party. Now I've been invited back to the same party by the same person, and I go, based on me being on top of the table with a lampshade on my head, this is bad judgment to go back to that party the next time. You know what I'm saying? You know, or if you're in Colorado and it seems like it's good judgment to take that toke one time, and then it seems like it's bad judgment to take that toke the next time, right? So you even showed, or you say it's good judgment to go out with the same person one time, and you say, well, I think it would be bad judgment to go out with that exact same person. So what it's saying is we even change what we think good and bad judgment is about the exact same thing, right? And then it says, nor can any consistent criteria for determining what good and bad judgment these categories are can be really taught. Okay, so I'm playing the role of a teacher, right? So I might share something from the Course in Miracles, and it says, at any time the student may disagree with what his would-be teacher says about good and bad judgment. So there'll be times that I'll share stuff, and you'll go, I don't know if I agree with that. I'm judging that that's not something that's true for me. We're on page 27 in the teacher's manual. How do you relinquish judgment? That's where we're at. And so And then sometimes the teacher will be inconsistent in what they believe is bad judgment. So I might even think it's good judgment, some of the things that I'm telling you, and then sometimes my own ego will say, well, no, that's not such a good judgment. So do you know what that ultimately means? Good judgment does not mean anything no more than bad judgment does. We're so mixed up about what it means that the Course in Miracles says our ideas of good judgment and bad judgment does not mean anything. Why? Because I think the same thing is showing good judgment and then bad judgment. The people around me think the same thing is good judgment or bad judgment. Sometimes I think it's good judgment or bad judgment. So I don't really know what good judgment and bad judgment really is. So that's the first step to relinquishing judgment, is for you to recognize you don't even know what good and bad judgment is. So the first step to relinquishing judgment is recognizing I am not absolutely clear what my own best interests are. But that's what you're saying when you're judging. You're basically saying, I know what my own best interests are in this situation. And the Course in Miracles is saying, no, you don't. Because if you really knew, would you have made so many errors in your life? If you really knew, would you not have more joy in every area of your life? So the first step to letting go of incorrect judgment is to recognize that I don't know what good and bad judgment is. So what's the first step to letting go of judgment? Okay. Any questions or comments about that paragraph? The very first one. So, is judgment wisdom? No. It says we confuse judgment with wisdom. In other words, I think my opinion about you is true because I'm so wise. So I can interpret everybody's motivation, and then I can react to everybody as if my interpretation of them is true. The Course in Miracles says that's what we do all day. You interpret where I'm coming from. I interpret where Patrick is coming from, and I could say, I'm looking at him looking real serious. I say, I go, Patrick doesn't like me, right? He's not smiling in my face, right? Patrick might be thinking about, you know what I'm saying, did he leave his lights on in his car? You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to interpret that he doesn't like me, and then I'm going to react to him, my judgment. I'm going to react to him like he doesn't like me. I'm going to treat him as if my interpretation is true. So maybe I don't smile at Patrick either, right? And the Course in Miracles is saying that's what we do all day. We interpret everything around us. We react to those interpretations as if they're true, and they may not be true at all. His upset, his face looking like that may not have had anything to do with me whatsoever, but I'm reacting like it is because I'm interpreting that to be true. So ask yourself, how many times during the day do you judge something, react to it as if you are absolutely sure you know what's going on? All day. All the time. So that is not wisdom. You see, so that's why it says that's not wisdom. That's not wisdom. Any comments, any questions about anything we've heard online in the room? Blue Sky, thanks for joining. Joseph, thanks for joining. Ramola, thanks for joining. Joel, thanks for joining. Susan, thanks for joining. Roxanne, thanks for joining. Okay, I'm giving you going once. Okay, there you go.
So about 2 years ago, I got this buddy, and I was having lunch with him, and it turned out he died the next day, but he told me, we were talking about judgment, and I was saying I judge too much. He goes, oh, Joel, don't do that. And I go, why? So what? Good, pretty wise guy. Why shouldn't I do that? He goes, you can't be right. I go, why can't you be right? He goes, too many variables.
Yeah. So he was saying you can't judge, you can't be right, too many variables. And then he made his transition the next day.
He did. Well, okay. I think that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I want to congratulate him. All right. Now, when you have the correct perception of death, you won't be upset about it. Did you know that? When you have the correct perception of death, you won't be upset about it. The Course in Miracles says that point blank. It said one of the ways you know that your mind has not become enlightened is that you still get upset about death. Anybody that's enlightened knows there's no such thing as death. And so what you really are never dies. And so you wouldn't have the attitude about death that you do. you would look at it like this person went to another level of the expression of themselves. I'm not there. I'm not there depending on how special the person is to me. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm very sensitive about somebody's death that I don't know. I'm the epitome of spiritual strength about somebody's death that I don't know. You know, I see it in the paper right now. Open the paper up and they go, whether it's child, adult, whatever. I mean, I might go, oh, that's a child, and I might have just a minute or so going, oh, that's really sad. Then I go to the refrigerator and get me some juice. Or I go right back to the thing I'm doing. But if it was my sister, brother, or somebody close to me, then I would have an entirely different reality. So what does that teach us? It teaches us that we're the ones that's determining how we feel by how we're interpreting it. That's the proof of it right there. The fact that you have a different emotional response according to your judgment, depending on who the person is, that lets you know that you can potentially have peace about anything, because there's some people's transition you give yourself total peace about, and there's some people's transition you don't give yourself total peace about. And so that lets you know that the way you feel is your choice. That's what it means when it says, I choose the feelings I experience. I'm the one that's deciding how I'm going to react to this situation. So that means I'm choosing the feelings that I experience. I saw somebody with their hand.
I did. So when you know, like Patrick left his lights on, but I know something that happened was like, I know that person didn't like me. I mean, I know that person didn't like me. And I was trying so hard to be, I don't want my peace to be affected. I don't want to judge this situation, but I just knew that guy just did not like me at all. And it was really hard for me to not judge that situation, like, oh my gosh, why am I here? I don't want to stay here. I'm here for another person, and she's with him, and he just didn't like me. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm going to be in my peace. I'm not going to let it affect me. And I woke up this morning, and it really affected me. I let it affect me.
It's not so much about whether you were affected or not, so much as you continue to take responsibility for the fact that you were affected by it. See, what we're trying to learn is that you can lick your tongue out of me. Yeah. I don't care what I'm feeling, I'm ultimately the one who is interpreting it and then having a reaction to it. So it's still my judgment. Remember to say good or bad judgment. It's still my judgment. And what I want to do is recognize that if I'm not feeling good, I'm giving myself a judgment that's making me not feel good. So you always want to empower yourself, no matter what you're feeling. You never want to increase the idea that you are a victim of your emotions. And I used to believe I could not help but feel a certain way. Because my reaction sometimes would happen so fast before it looked like I could even stop myself. But that only means that I have taught myself this so much. I've taught myself this judgment so much and for so long that I have an automatic reaction. You know, I've convinced myself my mama don't like me, and I've been telling myself that since I was 10. Then when my mama says something, I'm going to react extra fast because I've been programming myself that way a long time. So what you think of as an emotional reaction that you cannot control is just a programmed response that you've given yourself for so long that reaction seems to happen instantaneously. But it's still my judgment. Like I had issues with my father until I started studying the truth. And then I realized that my father's behavior was a result of his unconscious guilt, his lack of self-love, and that he was doing the best he could based on where he was, which wasn't the way that I was looking at it before I started my spiritual awakening. Same father, same events, my reaction was totally different. If anything, I had to then forgive myself, because now from this perspective, I wish I had been more compassionate. You see what I mean? So I went from holding a grievance to my father for his behavior when I was growing up to saying, wow, I wish I had another chance to answer his call for love. Same event, I changed my judgment of it. And that's very important. I'll say this again. You don't want to continue to support the idea that you have feelings that you are not the one that's choosing and in control of. There is no advantage to thinking somebody else is making you feel what you feel. Not one advantage to that at all. Because that means you're at the mercy of everything and everybody outside of you. I don't care how justified you feel. I don't care. You can feel it, but it's not to your benefit. People will stop doing something faster when they feel like it's not to their benefit than they will if they think it's right or wrong, or good or bad. If you get that something doesn't work, you'll stop doing it a lot faster than if you think it's bad or good, or it makes you feel guilty or not. Think about how many things you've ever felt guilty about that you still did anyway. And you'll know that guilt does not stop you from doing anything. Even as the first place people go is to guilt. I'm going to feel guilty about what I said yesterday. You cuss them out again tomorrow. And then you feel guilty again. But if you go, I really want to have peace with this person, attacking them is not going to get me peace with them. Then you start reconsidering what you're doing as soon as you see it's not going to get you what you want. So let's go to the next paragraph. Let's see if it's online and see if it's anything on here. Okay, Dreddy says, thanks, Earl, for the correct perception, a loving, non-fearful perception about death and life. So appreciate you and your willingness to remind us of who we are. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Marie, good to see you online, my friend in Ivor Hall. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, cool. All righty. Don't forget online, you can interact with each other and with me. Okay. I want to get through this one, so let's see if we can do that. So good judgment and bad judgment doesn't mean anything. Your good judgment and your bad judgment doesn't mean anything. Your good judgment and your bad judgment doesn't mean anything because you think the same thing you call good judgment 1 minute, you call bad judgment the next minute. That's why your good and bad judgment doesn't mean anything because it's totally inconsistent. Then the next paragraph says, it's necessary for the teacher of God, that's you, the demonstrator of love, says it's necessary for you to realize not that you shouldn't judge. Okay, so let's get rid of the whole idea that you shouldn't judge. It says get rid of the idea that you shouldn't judge and replace it with the idea that you can't judge. Okay? So in giving up judgment, you're just giving up what you didn't have in the first place. I'm giving up judgment. I'm giving up what I really didn't have in the first place. It's not your job to judge me. It's not my job to judge you. So I'm just giving up a job that I never had in the first place. It's not my job to judge you. It's not my job to judge you. So when I say I can't judge you, I'm really just giving up a job that I didn't have in the first place. I'm giving up an illusion. What's the illusion? That I can judge you. And better, I'm really just giving up the illusion of giving up an illusion. Because I never can judge you to begin with. So actually, if you give up judgment, what you're really doing is becoming more honest. An honest person knows they can't judge you. And I'm going to tell you later why you can't, so that'll make that easier, okay? First of all, if you recognize that if you were to recognize that judgment is impossible for you, the Course says you would no longer attempt it. Once I get that it's impossible for me to judge you, I would no longer attempt it. And I'm going to show you what the Course in Miracles is going to show us why we can't do it. So why we simply going, wait a minute, I think I can do it. No, I'm going to show you why you can't do it. And that'll make it easier for you to give it up on it. If I know why I can't do it, then I stop doing it. So let's find out why. He says, now, giving up your judgment on yourself and giving up your judgment on everybody else, it is not a sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice to give up trying to judge everything and everybody around you. Think about you. Let's look around the room. Let's say you wanted to try to keep up with your judgments of everybody sitting here in the room. Sounds like a lot of work. You know, I'm going to have a judgment about you, a judgment about you, a judgment about you. And I got to keep, not to mention the people that's not even here. And then I'm still judging people that died. That shows me how deep I am. People that don't even exist anymore, I'm still judging them. You know, and then I judge everybody on the news. Have you ever judged the president? Well, you can't judge the president. Now, this is one place you're wrong, Earl. This is when my judgment is right. I'm not gonna agree with you on this one. I'm right about Brother Donald. I got that down pat. I know all about him. It's to apply the truth to where you think someone is not for your own best interest is the supreme test, isn't it? Yeah. It really is. It's easy to kind of go, oh, me and you got a good vibe together. I see how you. All that really means is you're acting out my script the way I want it to be acted out, so I like you. See, he's not acting out your script, and so therefore you don't like him. That's really why I don't like him. Because there are other people who do, right? So they like him because they think that he is acting out their script. And let's say 8 years of Obama was complete hell for them. So there are a whole group of Americans that feel like this is payback time. That they are absolutely thrilled that it's Trump. So here's the same person, right? Some people like him, some people don't. So what's that telling you? It's all individual what? Judgments. And that's true about everything. So he goes, so the Course in Miracles says, recognizing that judgment was always impossible for you, you no longer tempted. This is no sacrifice. On the contrary, you put yourself in a position where judgment through you rather than by you can occur. So what does Spirit wants to do? Spirit wants to judge through us. Spirit wants to judge through you, but doesn't want your judgments. Okay? Love wants to judge through you, but is not interested in judgments by you. Then it says, this judgment that's going to come through you from the higher power within you, this judgment is going to be neither a good judgment nor a bad judgment. So how can I tell when I'm listening to God's judgment? It's not a good judgment or a bad judgment. It's the only judgment that there is. And there's only one judgment. How many judgments? There are only one judgment. How many judgments? There's only one judgment. You mean I only have one judgment? There's nothing for me to choose between? That makes it simple. I only have one judgment. There's only one judgment. How many? I said, uno, one. How hard is that to remember? One judgment. That's what I love about Spirit. It makes everything simple. It doesn't give us a lot of judgment because it knows we don't have a lot of judgment. so people who don't have a lot of judgment just don't need nothing but one judgment. And what is the one judgment? God's Son is guiltless and sin does not exist. Let me give you the interpretation. Okay, God's child is innocent and there's no such thing as sin. You are innocent, there's no such thing as sin. Now, I'm gonna hit some of you all down in your core. Okay, here you go. There's no such thing as sin. There's no such thing as sin. There's no such thing as sin. There is no such thing as sin. There is no such thing as sin. No such thing as sin. You are innocent as a child of God, and sin doesn't exist. Sin doesn't exist. Sin doesn't exist. Now, I've heard people say that they kind of, because of their religious upbringing, you may feel a little part of you go, you know, that part of you that claims you don't believe in that anymore. But yet you're watching yourself have a reaction that lets you know, oh, yes, you do. Or you would feel complete confident hearing there's no such thing as sin. There's no such thing as sin. There's no such thing as sin. Now, if you're a little child and you're born into the world, you don't know your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts create your perception and reality. Is that what we've learned? That your consciousness and your thoughts create your reality. I'm a little kid. I'm 6 years old. My parents tell me, you were born in sin. You are a sinner. You are inherently flawed just by being born. That's how screwed up you are. You were born flawed. Okay, they got a big, massive soul recall, and they're going to call you back. Okay? All right. So you therefore believe something is wrong with you. You're not okay. Right? So what do? You create an experience that witnesses that back to you even as a child. Whether it looks like your little peers are treating you horribly, or you don't really feel like you're cute enough, smart enough. My point is, when you teach people that they are flawed and their belief system creates their reality, then from a very young age, you start to mistreat yourself because you don't feel like you're loved and lovable and innocent. Is everybody with me on that? Yeah. So that becomes your core belief about yourself. And then everything you do comes out of that core belief. So that one judgment that love and God, our creator, the universe is trying to tell us right now is if you're going to have a judgment, there's only one. You're not sinful. You're not guilty. Now, it's not saying you don't make mistakes. It's not saying you don't have errors in perception. But you can't make a mistake that cannot be corrected. You can't make an error that will change who you are. And who you are is innocent and loved. You are totally innocent and loved. You are loved. You are loved. That's the one judgment. You're a child of God, and you are not a sinner. And I used to teach this in the South. Okay, I taught the Course in Miracles in the South, in the Memphis, Tennessee, the belt buckle of the Bible Belt. There's the Bible Belt. I taught it in the belt buckle. And I had a Sunday morning TV show that was not on cable. It was broadcast television. And there were ministers in Memphis who did not want their show to come on before mine or after. Literally. Literally. And I used to, and part of me was like going, I could get killed. Yeah, that's what really. I grew up in the South. I was like going, God's got me on TV saying there's no such thing as hell and there's no such thing as sin in the South. And what happened to me was nothing happened to me. I didn't even get a lot of negative phone calls because it wasn't my plan. It was God's plan. And that's what I began to understand about the difference between God's plan and mine. If I'm acting out of the plan of my Creator, then the promise is all obstacles would be removed. You would be totally safe. And so I realized, okay, then that means I'm doing a lot of things in my life that are just my plan. I'm not actually following the divine plan, or else I would not. But see, I had a hard time trying to follow Jesus when I was a kid, because Jesus seemed cool, but it looked like, if you follow Jesus, you're going to have a rough time. You know what I'm saying? It don't look like Jesus had a very easy life. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'm going to be a follower of Jesus. I don't know. That's what I was thinking. That crucifixion. I think I'd rather go to the movie. But then I overlooked the fact that in the Bible, Jesus was constantly saying from the time he was born practically that he came for what he did. That was all part of the plan, was for him to come and be crucified. And then people forget that the main part of that story was Jesus resurrected. You don't hear much about... See, when I went to church, I didn't hear that much about the resurrection. What I kept hearing about was the crucifixion. And I just kept seeing this picture of Jesus on the cross going, I'm going to get you back. Let me tell you. Jesus did never have no smile on him. Okay. And then I was told that I was responsible for the death of God's child. That's a bunch of guilt to lay on a 5-year-old too. What you mean? God's child died for you. Died on you. Died because of you. And I go, wasn't that 2,000 years ago? I'm back. And then the adults would say to me, don't you question the Bible. Anybody familiar with that? If you ask any kind of question, you're like, don't you question, what? Don't you question the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Adam and Eve was the first two people, right? Yeah. And they had some children named, Cain and Abel, right? And they said, yeah. And then it says they got married. Who did they marry? Don't you question the Bible. But then the first two people, who did they hook up with? It was Tinder back in those days. So as a kid, I wanted to believe in God. I wanted a relationship with God. I wanted a relationship with Jesus. I just could not get with the condemnation and the negativity and the guilt. But I long for that relationship with Spirit. That's why I'm into the course. I want a relationship with God. I'm not one of these people that's trying to deny God. I'm one of these people that's saying, please give me the correct perception of God. That's what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of, thank you. I'm saying more people, a lot of people into New Thought and Higher Consciousness, they're not in the idea of a higher power. They don't want to believe in God. They want to believe in themselves. That it's just, I'm gonna study all this stuff, and I'm gonna manifest, and I'm gonna visualize, and I'm gonna create. I'm gonna do it all without the infinite intelligence. I'm gonna do it all without Spirit. I ain't one of them folk. I want a relationship with that which created me. I did not create myself. So I'm here. Something wanted me to be here. And to me, it's like a dumb question. Is there a creator? Don't you see stuff? Don't you see you? Something put us here. Something created us. Right? So the Course in Miracles is saying when you really wake up, the one judgment you're going to have is that you're innocent and you're not sinful. Then the next paragraph says the aim of our curriculum, unlike the goal of the world's learning, the aim of our curriculum is what? The recognition that judgment in the usual sense is impossible. So we need to recognize what? Judgment in the usual sense is impossible. This isn't an opinion. This isn't an opinion. It says, but a what? Fact. What does that mean? Now, here's why you can't judge. This is what's going to make it easier for you to stop judging. Are you ready?
Come on.
Yes. All right. In order to judge rightly, you would have to be fully aware of an inconceivably wide range of things. In order to judge, you have to be aware of everything that happened in the past, everything that's happening in the present, and everything that's happening in the future. I'm going to use Connor as an example because I like his hat. Okay, now, so I'm going to judge Connor. Those really are some cool shoes. Really. Anyway, I'm going to judge Connor. And so I got to know everything about your past, everything about what's going on in your life right now, and everything that's going to ever happen to you in the future. Okay? Not only that, I'd have to know in advance all the effects that my judgment is going to have on you and everything involved in you in any way. And I would have to be certain that when I'm judging you, there's no distortion in my perception. So if I'm going to judge you, that means I got to be seeing everything clear. So let me get this straight. I got to know everything about your past, everything about your present, everything that's going to happen in the future, the effects of my judgment on you. And I got to be clear that I'm seeing you clearly to really judge you. Also, I have to know that my judgment is going to be fair to everybody that my judgment rests on now and in the future. Hello, are you fit for judgment?
No.
Do y'all know everything about my past? Y'all don't know really anything about my past. You don't know what's going on in my life, and you don't know what's going to happen to me, and I don't trust that your perception is correct. I'm sorry, I don't have complete faith in the fact that all of y'all are seeing me with love and clarity. And that you're going to be fair. Because let's say you got to think about men. How are you going to have a fair judgment of me? You're not. So you have to not only be seeing me clearly, you have to be seeing me fairly. You have to know everything about my past, you have to know everything about my present, and you have to know everything that's going to happen to me to judge me. That's why the Course in Miracles is saying, you jokers can't judge. Who's in a position to do this? Who accepted grandiose fantasies and claimed this for themselves? End of that paragraph. Anybody in here that wants to challenge what I just said? Do I have on boxers or briefs?
Or any at all.
Hey! Hey! You think I'm a commando teacher, huh? Now some people listen to me and going, that was bad judgment. But you said that was bad judgment. Because I know what's going to happen to you in the future. I'm not watching your class no more. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? Anybody got any questions about that paragraph? I want to hear who in here, is there anybody in here who thinks based on that you can judge me?
No.
What about you, Chris?
No.
Okay. What's your question?
Well, I just wanted to, because what we were talking about, like, it never jived with me that, like, like I was born in sin, it never jived in me that I am being held to that because of what someone else did, meaning Adam and Eve.
Right.
You know, they ate the fruit, and then now because of that, I'm screwed. It never jived with me.
Just think about that'd be a pretty petty God that, you know, you went in the refrigerator and you ate an orange, you know, you doomed. That's pretty rough treatment there, buddy. You know, yeah.
I'm responsible for something that someone else did.
Oh, here's the thing that was so deep to me about the whole Jesus part, was that Jesus was punished because he was good for what I did. See, that's like me murdering somebody and then they send you to the electric chair. Does that make sense? And so what does that do? That undermines your desire to be a good boy or girl. You think if you're good, you're the one that's going to suffer because you're good, because God punishes the good person for the bad person. That sounds like an insane God. And it doesn't sound fair at all. That because I'm good, then I'm going to have to be sacrificed for you who aren't so good. And so sometimes I wonder, how did that even start to make sense to anybody? And then the Course in Miracles says, I'll tell you why that makes sense. It makes sense to a person who believes they're guilty and sinful and deserve to be punished. That makes perfect sense to a person who feels unworthy and feels guilty. If I'm guilty and bad, I deserve punishment. And so it says that the reason why we won't let go of that thought system is because it makes us feel okay for punishing people and then saying it hurts me more than it hurts you. In other words, it makes it okay to punish. And so that thought is so deranged and so insane that thought creates pain for people and they don't even know. And then people say, well, I'm not a Christian. But the Course would say, well, what I'm talking about is any thought of guilt. So even if you're not a Christian, you still have the belief in guilt. And anybody that has the belief in guilt is going to punish themselves. So whenever you're feeling good because you think you're feeling so guilty, what you're doing is you're telling the universe, punish me, punish me, punish me, punish me, punish me, punish me, punish me. And what do good people do more than bad people do, quote unquote? Feel guilty. If you're a good person, you feel guilty about everything. A really nice person, oh, I feel so guilty. You know, like sometimes people apologize in the store because they walking by when I'm looking at some groceries. And they go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, well, you didn't do anything. I'm just looking at a can of corn, you know. Okay, so, because, it's like I'm apologizing. So what I'm telling you is, while you might be a person who just thinks it's great to feel guilty about everything, you're telling the universe, punish me, punish me, punish me. Then you're shocked when things seem to happen to you that cause you pain. You're just getting what you asked for because you think punishment absolves you from your guilt. So the more you are guilty, the more you think you need to sabotage your happiness in order to pay for your crimes. You know, if you grew up in something that says, you don't have premarital sex and you do, then you're going to feel guilty about it and probably create some type of complications around that act. If you know what I mean. Whatever you feel guilty about, you won't let yourself enjoy it. And even if you do it, you're going to come right behind it and punish yourself. I feel guilty because I'm eating too much. So I got to have a stomach ache and indigestion to punish me for eating too much. Or I got to gain weight as part of my punishment because I think it's wrong to eat. So every time you classify a judgment where you're saying something that you do is bad and you think you're a good person, you're going to do something to punish yourself for doing it. Because that's what good people do. They feel bad about the things they do that they think is bad. That's what makes them good people. So if you think you're a good person, you're going to punish yourself for things that you think you do that you think you shouldn't do. So the Course is saying, how do you get past that? You are the child of God. You are innocent. What you are is sinless. You are love. You were created by love. Can you make mistakes? Yes. What are mistakes for? Correction. You made a mistake. Just don't do that again. That's the only afterward message. Sorry, y'all adding all that other stuff to it. Just don't do it again. That's the only message. Just don't do it again. And it doesn't mean that what you were doing was necessarily bad. That was your judgment. So, even if it's not bad and you think it's bad, what are you going to do? You're going to punish yourself. So I always tell people, Don't do the things you know you make yourself feel guilty about, because you know you're not going to let yourself have that without some type of punishment that you give yourself. It doesn't even mean it's bad. It means you think it's bad, so you're going to punish yourself for it. So pay attention to how you feel before you do something, because you can tell by the way you feel before you do it what's going to be the outcome. Because you're going to see to it that outcome happens. I mistreated a person in my last relationship. Of course I'm going to choose somebody that's going to mistreat me, because that's what I deserve because of the way I was in my last relationship. So I'm going to overlook the person that's going to love me and be kind to me, and I'm going to be attracted to the person that abuses me and doesn't appreciate me. But I really don't know I'm doing it because I feel guilty and unworthy. So the good thing about being a loving, kind person, what I discovered, is that the people who would misuse or abuse me in their perception, they are never attracted to me. So I stay safe. Because they don't think they deserve somebody as loving as me. So they won't be attracted to me, and I'm okay. They won't even want me. They're going to want somebody who doesn't want them. Woo! I know, I can see that look on everybody's face. I love it. Okay. Now, remember how many times you thought you knew all the facts you needed for judgment and how wrong you were? Is there anybody that hasn't had this experience of thinking they knew what was going on and finding out later they were wrong? Would you know how many times you thought you were right without ever realizing you were wrong? It's not like you caught yourself every time you were wrong. There were some times you were wrong and you found out you were wrong, but there are even more times you were wrong and you never found out you were wrong. You're wrong now about the things that you don't even realize you're wrong about. So why would you use such an arbitrary basis for decision making? Wisdom isn't judgment. Wisdom is the relinquishment of your judgment. How can I tell that I'm wise? I'm no longer using my judgment anymore. Why am I not using my judgment? Because I don't know everything that happened to you in your past. I don't know what's going on in your life right now, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future. And I know my perception is distorted because I don't feel complete love for everything and everyone. So if I'm not feeling complete love, I know my judgment is distorted. So I'm resigning as your judge.
Thank you.
I'm going to use the one judgment even if I don't believe it. The one judgment is, you're innocent, you're created by God, you're not sinful. I'm going to use that judgment. Now, what would be the advantage of me using that judgment? If my reality is a reflection of my beliefs, I'm going to start drawing people into my life more and more who are seeing me as innocent and seeing me as a child of love. I'm going to end up surrounded by people who are doing the same judgment on me as I'm doing on them. I have to be patient because I got to let those people move out of my life that reflected the old negative judgments I had, until the new people come into my life that reflect the new judgment that I have. And some of the people who are already in my life are not going to go anywhere. They're just going to change from a negative judgment of me to a loving judgment of me. So some people are going to leave. Some people are going to change their mind about me. And a bunch of new ones are going to show up saying, Earl, you are cool. You're innocent. You can make mistakes, but you are innocent. You are loved. But I got to be patient. And I've got to use that judgment myself in order to draw it to myself. You with me?
Yeah.
So it says wisdom isn't judgment. Wisdom is the relinquishment of judgment. So do you know you need to do one more thing? Make one more judgment. And this is the judgment. Now this is the cool part. Because sometimes I go, okay, if I'm not going to judge, how should I know? How should I know? How should I know what to do? How should I know what to do? If I'm not going to judge, how should I know what to do? It says there's someone with you whose judgment is perfect. You have a high power divinity of God with you whose judgment is perfect. What does that mean? That means you got somebody with you who knows all the facts. See, there is someone with you that does know my past, does know my present, and does know my future, and does see me clearly and correctly. There is a part of you called the divine in you, the God in you, the Spirit in you, that does know my past, does know my present, and does know my future, and does see me as this child of God who is not a sinner. That part of you also exists. There's somebody with you that does know all the effects of his judgment on everyone and everything involved in any way. There's a part of you that's totally fair to everyone. There's someone with you that doesn't have any distortion in their perception. I'll say it again. There's someone with you whose judgment is perfect. There's someone with you who knows the fact the facts, past, present, and to come. There's someone with you who does know all the effects of their judgment on everyone and everything involved in any way. There's a part of you that's divine, that does have a perception of everyone that's totally fair, and there's a part of you that has no distortion in its perception whatsoever. Therefore, class, lay judgment down. Don't lay it down with regret. Lay judgment down with a what? Sigh of gratitude. I'm so doggone glad I'm not going to judge you all. The coolest thing that's happening to me right now is that more than ever before, I'm not holding anybody else responsible for my happiness. I'm not expecting anybody to change their behavior to please me. And it's making my life so freaking peaceful that I just have to go out and do some dumb stuff. When people tell me what they want to do or don't want to do, and they want to change the way they relate to me or whatever, and I go, okay, that's perfectly okay. I want you to do that if that's what you really feel like you need to do right now. And I want to support you in exactly what you want to do right now. And when I started doing that, letting go of that idea that other people needed to be different in order for me to be happy, I found out that all my grievances dropped away because all of my grievances were coming from the expectations that I was putting on people around me that I expected them to do. So the minute I started letting go of the belief that you needed to be a certain way for me to be happy, my grievances dropped away. Because there was nobody to be upset with, because nobody was doing anything to upset me, because I wasn't expecting them to make me happy in the first place. So all of a sudden, everybody was peaceful for me to be around because I realized my happiness comes from me. I don't pull it off all the time, but the more that I pull it off, the more that I see that I don't have the conflicts in my life that I used to have, because all of my conflicts were rooted in my scripts that I was writing for everybody around me that they weren't acting out, because the part of me that thought I was sinful and guilty and didn't deserve to be happy, it was so stupid that it would always choose the people who really didn't want to do it in the first place. Right? And so what's happening now is the people who need me to be a certain way in order for them to be happy, they're not interested in me anymore because I'm not being cooperative. So they fell away. It's like, oh, so you're not going to act out my script that's going to make me happy? Then forget you. I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to go harass somebody else for the rest of my life. So, and then if you're smart, you go, okay, because I want you to be happy. And if you think that's going to make you happy, go ahead and do it. Then your ego says, well, that means you're not going to have that experience you want. Then who's going to give you the experiences that you want? If you don't have any kind of script for everybody, what about the things you want to experience with somebody? The universe went, spirit went, the Holy Spirit went, I got you covered. I know who wants to do exactly what you like, just the way you like to do it. They do it all the time. They did it before they met you. They did it in their past. They did it in their present. And they're going to do it in their future. They're going to do, you like apple pie? You've been trying to make this person fix you an apple pie, and they don't even like apples. Okay, so and you've been getting mad because they're not doing what you want them to do. I know who wants to do exactly what you want to do, will be glad to do it, and they'll do it. If they didn't know you, they'd be doing it if they know you, and they're going to be doing it when they don't know you, so they're going to show up already doing what you like, so you're not manipulating them at all because that's what they like too. I know who that is. I'll send them to you. Why? Because, Earl, I'm the someone in you who knows the past, the present, and the future. I'm the someone in you that knows everything. And so I know the perfect person, perfect circumstances, and perfect situations that fit every one of your desires. And I will bring them to you under one condition. Now, I said, little to catch. It's right there in the book. You don't use them on behalf of staying stupid, ignorant, separate, and forgetting what the truth is. Don't get so caught up in the thing that I'm giving you that you lose sight of your purpose to go toward God, love, truth, and enlightenment. As long as you use them to keep moving you forward, I'll bring you your apple pie lover. So while you're picking who the apple pie lover should be, you're slowing the whole process down because you're thinking you can judge and you're thinking that you know, and you're going to force them to try to conform to the thing you like. While you're wasting all that time, I could send you your apple pie lover. Do y'all want y'all's apple pie lover? Could you love yourself enough to let yourself be given what you want? The Course in Miracles says, I take care of your foolish needs as well as your real needs. What you really need is God, truth, love, and unlimited awareness. You think you need a new dress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a new dress while I'm teaching you about God, truth, and love. How about that? I'm going to take care of this need you think you have. Why? Because if I give you the thing that you think you want, you won't be distracted by spending all your time trying to get it, so you could go ahead and focus on your real evolutionary development. So love doesn't deny you what you want. Love gives you what you want so that you can move on. It's only your ego and your fear that makes you seek for stuff that you can't have because of your own judgment about where it's located and who's supposed to give it to you. The person I'd be most leery about is the one I'm most attracted to. That's why I watch really carefully. Okay, girl, you feel an attraction to her. You need to go the other way. Because you know your track record. The women you had the biggest challenges with were the ones you chose. That you said you wanted. Those were the ones that you had the biggest challenge with, not the ones who showed up and said they were attracted to you and they appreciated you and they like you. Now, those haven't been the women that you've had the hard time with. The women you've had the hard time with, brother, is the ones you looked across the room and said, I want her. It's your chooser that's defective. It's mighty quiet. Because y'all know it's true with you too. The person you go after is usually the one you got to keep on doing something to keep them. Unless there's a mutual attraction, and that means usually both of y'all see each other as the one that's going to fulfill each other's script at the same time. And you call that a relationship made in heaven, which only lasts until you don't do it. Then they get disillusioned and they get rid of you. You know what I'm talking about. You've been on the planet long enough to know that doesn't work. But the ones that will work is the ones that you ask the someone with you who knows to send into your life. And you might have to communicate with them and actually talk to them, because usually you won't be immediately turned on by them because they won't give you a hard time. So, therefore lay judgment down, not with regret, but with a sigh of what? Gratitude. Now are you free? Free of what? Of a burden. What kind of burden? A great burden that you could just merely stagger and fall down beneath all of your judgment. And it was all what? Illusion. Nothing more. Illusion. Now can the teacher of God do what? Rise up. How are you going to rise up? Unburden. What are you going to do then? You're going to walk lightly on. You got to do the black walk. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You don't have to. That's my judgment. Because there is someone with you. You don't have to be black. Right? He says you rise up what? Unburdened, and what do? Walk lightly on. Yet he says it's not only this that's your benefit. Here's the real benefit of giving up your judgment. He says your sense of care is gone because you don't have any more sense of care. He says you've given your sense of care and worry away along with your judgment. I'm not going to be the one that judges. I'm going to let God be in charge. God knows past, present, and future. I'm going to trust that I don't know my own best interest, but that which loves me is with me. How can I tell when something is sent to me by God? It's a yes. It's no conflict. There's no judgment. There's no attack. There's no resistance. There is commonality. There is peace. There is freedom. And there is joy. If you're not experiencing that, that's your judgment you're dealing with. Your choices you're dealing with, separate from the truth. Wow. Then it goes on to say that you've given your cares away, you've given your judgment away, because you've given yourself to the Holy Spirit, whose judgment you have chosen now to trust what? Instead of yours. Now you make no mistakes. Why? Because your guide is sure. And where you used to come to judge, I have come here now for a different purpose. When you come to this class, y'all don't know it, but I have something that I'm doing to you all the time when you come that you don't know about. I'm blessing you.
Thank you.
I'm not, when you come now, for me, it's not that you have come here for me to judge you. Now, it's like you have come here for me to bless you. So when you're in front of me, I'm saying, I bless you, God bless them, 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 God bless them. So I replace blessings with judgment. I take it because I don't know enough about you to judge you, but I certainly can bless you. I can certainly see that you deserve love. I can want love and happiness for you. As a matter of fact, it's easier for me to want love and happiness for you because practically none of you are in any kind of special relationship with me, and you don't communicate with me at all other than the time that you come to this class. I love you so much. I don't have any grievances with you, right? Because I have not singled you out for my script. So I can bless you really easily. You're not disappointing me because I'm not giving you any expectations to please me in the first place. I'm easy to get along with. But I'm hell for a person who got a bunch of scripts they want me to act out. But the Holy Spirit don't send those kind of people to me anymore. You know what kind of people the Holy Spirit sent to me? There's people to me that say stuff like, oh, God, I appreciate you in the way you are and you're so helpful to me. All those people who used to criticize me and judge me, I literally don't have anybody in my life doing that anymore. And I remember a time that would have seemed like that was a totally impossibility between family, friends, and relationships. It was like no way you could have told me I could ever be walking the physical earth and not have an issue with my children, an issue with my relatives, an issue with my friends, an issue with the people who come to my classes. Everywhere I go in the world, people going, hey, I love your glasses. I just love you. You know, people, strangers, total strangers hugging me in the elevator and then getting off the elevator without even saying anything. And I'm like going, this is weird. But it's the kind of world I live in. And everybody that would judge me, people who judge you, you know what the cool thing about them? The people who don't like you, they're going to leave you alone. Oh, yeah. So that's what you got to understand. If the people who don't like Earl, you think they're going to come around Earl? You think the people that don't like Earl is going to watch Earl's classes? No. The people in my life are the ones who appreciate who I am and the ones who think they're hurting my feelings because I'm not acting right, so they're going to leave. I'm like going, that's so loving of you. Get the hell out. All right. You don't like me, so you're not going to come around me? The cruel people are the ones who don't like me and stick around. I used to have people who didn't like me that would stick around. And they would spend all their time trying to get me to change. They wouldn't just go. They'd be saying, you need to be different, Earl. You need to be different, Earl. You need to change, Earl. And if you don't, you're selfish. God, those kind of people are not attracted to me anymore. And it's such a blessing because I started to do what he said. He says, now you make no mistakes. Your guide is sure. Where you used to come to judge, now you come to bless. Where now you are laughing, you used to come to cry. Wow. So it's not difficult to relinquish judgment. It's difficult to keep it. And you will gladly lay judgment down happily, when you see how much it's costing you. All of the ugliness that you see in your life is coming from judgment. All the pain that you are looking at in your life is coming from your judgment. All the loneliness, all your sense of loss, all your sense of passing time, all your sense of growing hopelessness, all of your sickening despair, all of your fear of death is coming from judgment. And now you know that these things need not be. Not one of those things are really true because you've given up their cause. What was their cause? My judgment. It was my judgment that was causing me pain. It was my judgment that was causing me loss. It was my judgment that was causing me any kind of fear. And the Court says, all of this pain that you've ever gone through has just been the result of your own mistaken choice. Your own mistaken choice to do what? Your own mistaken choice to do what? Teacher of God. This step will bring you peace. Can it be difficult to want but peace? Now let me give you a great definition of peace, please. Because when I used to hear the word peace, it did not sound as much fun as party. Peace, according to the Course in Miracles, means complete and total fulfillment. Isn't that a beautiful definition? When I say I want peace, I'm saying I want complete, total fulfillment in my relationships. I want complete, total fulfillment in my financial situations. I want complete, total fulfillment in my relationship to God. I want complete, total fulfillment on my job. I want complete, total fulfillment with my friends. I want complete, total fulfillment with my family. See, that's what peace is. Peace is total fulfillment. And if you do what this section is saying, you will have complete and total fulfillment. Would you acknowledge y'all for hearing this much with me today? Woo! Now, when you go back over it yourself, it'll make a lot more sense to you. So, let's do the financial expression of appreciation. Those who would choose to do that, you're welcome to come to my classes, whether you give financial appreciation or not. But thank you so much if you can choose to do so. This class is your ability to take advantage of what I do is not based on how much money you get. I'm gonna do some quick takeaways for you to take this home, take this out of here with you. Oh my goodness. I really, 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 really needed to hear that today. I needed to hear that today. I needed to hear that. Yeah. So what you could do then, you could say, decide for me, Holy Spirit, decide for me, Holy Spirit, decide for me, Holy Spirit. And if those of you online who want to share a financial expression of appreciation, go to my website, earlpurdy.com. And I'm also available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, and also available for coaching. And I bring everything that I've been working with through this for the last 35 years into the session, as well as my knowledge of astrology and numerology for those who are open also to other ways of getting information. So that's the joy. The joy is I want God to judge you through me. What does that mean? I'm going to show you a classic example of what it looks like. You are guiltless, and you are not sinners. That certainly isn't my judgment. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. If I say to you, you are totally loved, loving, beautiful, and innocent, I don't know your past. I don't know your present. I don't know what you're going to do. So I'm literally letting my body be used by a higher power to give you a message. And that's what you're supposed to be using your bodies for. To give the message of love to me and everybody else around you. And if you do that, you're going to find that message is going to be coming to you more and more through everybody around you, even total strangers. And I told you about the person that bought me a hot dog in the movie without me even asking for it. If that ain't a miracle, I don't know what is. But if these hot dogs cost in the movie, I don't know that. Say, just gave me one. Like, wow, that's deep. I was just saying, well, I like to have a hot dog. And so the person I was with didn't buy. Just like I said, the people you expect don't do it. But Spirit knew who would. Whoa. Right. So don't think that you know what's possible for you. You could experience more joy, more peace, and more blessings than you could ever imagine. The Course in Miracles' definition of little is what? Whatever you think of. You say, you don't know what the definition of little is? Anything you think of. You can't think high enough of yourself. You can't come up with a gift that's anywhere near what you desire and what's best for you and what you deserve. You deserve much more than what you give yourself. The Course in Miracles says you're not asking for too much. You're asking for too little. You're not asking for enough. Like when somebody says, just give me a little bit, Lord. Just give me a little bit. Well, you already have a little bit, so your prayer's already been answered. Shut up. You already have a little bit. What you talking about? That's kind of redundant. Give me a little bit. You already got a little bit. Don't ask for a little bit. Ask for it all. Yes. Say, I want all. I want everything. Yes. I want all the blessings that are mine. Yes. Right? Yes. Isn't that what you want? Yes. Huh? Yeah. So I'm gonna do one little quick 1 minute of review, and then we're gonna rush out of here. Kim, thank you for saying wonderful. Blue, thank you for saying our role is essential to love's plan for salvation. Janet is saying thank you for all the joining together this day. Truth being love is also happiness. I love knowing that we have hundreds of people that are watching this class live. So we got a lot of support, y'all. We got a lot of invisible support that's going on right now. What was one takeaway? Anybody got a takeaway they want to say that they want to remember from today's class? Anybody? Anybody?
Now I laugh where I used to weep.
You're going to laugh where you used to cry. That's good.
It's
Anybody
impossible
else?
for me to judge.
What?
It's impossible for me to judge.
You know it's impossible for you to judge. It is impossible. Why is it impossible for you to
Because
judge?
I don't know. I don't know the past, present, future.
You don't know my you don't know my past. You don't know my present. You don't know my future. Now, this is a definition of past. This will really get you. Past means gone. Future means not yet. So you don't know my gone. You don't know my present. Now, you don't know my not yet. Okay. Now, when do spiritual cats want it? Meow. Right now. That's when spiritual cats want it. They want it right now. Anybody else? One takeaway. One
I
takeaway.
have a right to render judgment unemployed.
Say that again.
I have a right to render judgment unemployed.
That's exactly right.
When I relinquish judgment, I will have gratitude.
When you relinquish judgment, you will know it because you have gratitude. Anybody online? Well, that's awesome. That's what I heard. That's what's online. Is that you are awesome. So let me let you hear this for 1 minute. I'm going to tell you the truth about yourself. I'm going to have a judgment come through me and through you for 1 minute. Here it is. Now, the chorus says, God's Son is guiltless and sin does not exist. Love's child is innocent and sin does not exist. You are love's child and you are totally innocent. What does that mean? It means you are without guilt. It means you are without sin. Do you make errors? Yes, but it doesn't change your basic nature. Because I'm covered with mud, it doesn't change what my body looks like under the mud. And because you think you may not be enough, it doesn't change what you really are. You are love's child, and love's child is innocent. I am love's child, and love's child is innocent. What? I am love's child, and love's child is innocent. I am love's child, and love's child is innocent. I am love's child, and love's child is innocent. I am love's child, and love's child is innocent. I am love's child, and love's child is innocent. I am God's child, and God's child is innocent. Sin does not exist. Don't be scared to say it. Sin does not exist. Sin does not exist. Sin does not exist. Sin does not exist.
And
I am innocent.
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 I do not deserve to suffer. 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 I can have it all.
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 I receive it all.
I receive it all.
I deserve to be paid for having fun. I deserve to be paid for having. That's how you can tell when you're doing the right thing that you're supposed to be doing in the world. The way you can tell is it won't seem like work to you. You think this seems like work to me? I love to do it, and so it doesn't seem like work to me. But for someone who wouldn't want to speak in front of people, it would seem like work to them. So it's totally neutral. I give myself joy through it, and so I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing. If you're doing something every day that you dread doing, you need to get away from that as soon as you can, or change your mind about it. Don't spend your life doing something that you don't want every single day, because that means you are using your judgment and not the judgment of God. The judgment of God will give you things that take away all stress, all obstacles, all pain, and all conflict. If you're really listening to your higher self, you will feel everything in your life expanding in joy and expanding in peace. You are innocent. I love you. Give it up. Give it up, mighty companions. Thank you for joining with me today. Woo! Y'all so cool. Can you give it to each other? Y'all just know y'all cool. You know you cool. Online, I love you. I love you. And don't forget to spread the video, share the video. And hugs are available to anybody that would love to have one. Thank you for tuning in today. Would you hand me that, please, ma'am? Oh, yeah.
Turn that off.
Okay. So your friend